Chapter 9. Extinguishing the Flame. Third-person POV. It was morning time in Tempest, and the adventurers were still sleeping. Suddenly, Shizu wakes up unexpectedly with a scared look. She was sweating bullets and looked around, her eyes landing on Irin, who was sleeping to the other bed next to her. She then felt an immense pain and fell face down on the bed sheets, gripping onto them tightly. The pain dived down after a while, and she looked to see if Irin had woken up or not, and to her relief, she didn't. She fell back down on her bed and lied there for a while. She then got up, changed and left the house, going up to the same cliff where she talked to Rimuru yesterday. She starts looking in at the developing village and smiles. Shizu-san, she hears someone say from behind. Shizu turns around and sees Rimuru standing there with Ranga on her side. "Rimuru," she exclaimed as the dragon god walked up to her. "Rimuru-san, I'll be leaving soon," she tells her. Why not stay?" Rimuru curiously asks her. "I'm sorry, but I can't. If I do, then I'll only bring you trouble," she sadly tells the other woman. "The goal of my journey." "Well, yes, my goal is to find the man who summoned me," she tells her. "What will you do after finding him?" Rimuru asks her, to which she stays silent. She just looks slightly towards the ground as the wind blows by. "You too." "Well, alright then. It's too bad, but you can come back and visit anytime. You'll always be welcome here. Isn't that right, Ranga?" Rimuru told her. "Yes, of course," he affirmatively says. "Thank you," Shibu says as she hugs Rimuru, the latter who hugs her back. "Thank you too, Ranga." She bends down and hugs him. She ruffles his fur and pats his head, before looking at Rimuru and smiling at her. Small time skip. "Shizu-san, why don't you just come back with us to Bloomond? It's sad to say goodbyes here," Irin asks her while combing her hair. "I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun to travel with you guys," she tells her. "Well," then she starts, but Shizu simply shakes her head. "Traveling together with you guys has shown me just how much fun it is to travel in a group. I'm truly grateful that my last journey was made with all of you," she thanks her. "Shizu-san, what do you mean by last?" she asks in confusion and a hint of concern. "I've been around for decades, you know. I'm not as young as I look." She smiles and puts her mask on. "Oh, thank goodness, you were only joking. I got concerned there for a second." She lets out of relief. They go outside to where the other two were waiting for them, alongside Rigard and Rigor. "About damn time you guys showed up. Why do women take so long to change?" Cable grumpily says. They were going to leave, but they then noticed that Shizu had stopped moving and just stood there motionless. She started to stumble and lose balance, causing everyone to get worried at what's happening. "Shizu-san," Irin says. "And no, not this again," she stuttered before falling down on her knees and screaming at the top of her lungs. Her mask broke off and she was surrounded by flames that ascended up to the sky. "Shizu-san. Shizu-san," Irin calls out in dismay. As Shizu says. Dark stormy clouds started to form and covered the sky in a sea of black, as a pillar of flames erupted. Shizu was in there, just looking at us blankly. Some wired fiery cape-like things formed around her. "Hey, isn't that?" Guido starts. "The Conqueror of Flames." Cable growls. What, the hero from the guild from 50 years ago?" Shizu is her ear and yells in disbelief. "How is she even here? She should be retired." They looked up to her, as the mask fell off. Her eyes were bright orange and with an almost red glare. Tears started flowing down her face, but the tears evaporated quickly as she is completely engulfed in flames and transformed into a tall, muscular beast. This beast they were seeing right now was the superior flame spirit, Ifrit. The spirit roars loudly, sending the cable party flying back as it alerted the rest of the people. Most of them were scared and cowered at the sight of the beast. It was a superior spirit after all. It then creates the 3 miniature fire dragons. "Master, should I dispose of this insect?" the white primordial asks her master. "No, you can take a break and watch." That insignificant spirit decided to hurt Shizu and forcefully use her body, and for that, he will pay. Rimuru looked quite pissed off at the moment. She steps towards Ifrit and goes closer to him. Ifrit then orders the salamander. Ifrit was surprised by this and tried to summon more, but it didn't work. He looked down at Rimuru, who had a murderous aura surrounding her. Rimuru lifts up some of her hair on her side as she looks at him menacingly. "Listen here, stop using my friend without my permission, you mongrel." As soon as she says this, Ifrit is slammed onto the floor, hard. He tries getting up, but every time he struggles, the pressure on top of him would only increase. "You know, superior spirit, you're too weak for that." You violently stomp on him, cracking the ground. She starts twisting and digging her heel into the spirit's flesh as he screams out in agony. "Rimuru-san," the cable party calls out. "Or did it?" You quickly stretched your hand out, stopping it in its tracks, and Ifrit was sent hurling towards you, as you cocked your palm to your side and slammed it against his chest, while the other hand kept his body in place. This palm strike forced Shizu out of his body and rolled a good distance away, as Ifrit's real body was being held by Rimuru. Shizu started coughing and panting at the impact, and then passed out from exhaustion. Rimuru simply looks at Ifrit and roughly throws him onto the ground. She extends her hand out towards him without even bothering to look at him, and says only one word. Beelzebub. After saying that, a black and purple cloud shoots out of her hand and engulfs him, before absorbing him and going back into Rimuru's body. She looks at Shizu's unconscious body lying there and goes towards her passed-out friend. Rimuru-sama, she's so far gone. There's no way she could survive now without the help of a spirit. Tessarasa walks up to her master. Don't worry Testa, leave it all to me. Just take her back to her bed and leave the rest to me. Trust in me, she won't die. I won't let her die. Rimuru reassured her before going to tend to the Cable party. Chapter 10. Fiery Little Sister. Third person Pav. Rimuru was sitting by Shizu's side, waiting for her to wake up. She had forcefully gotten rid of Ifrit from her body and increased her lifespan. She was given her blessing, which was announced by the voice of the world. She would survive. All she needs to do now is to wake up. Rimuru notices Shizu starting to stir awake. Shizu opens her and sees Rimuru by her side, giving her a warm smile. She felt relieved that they were all fine, but questioned how she got here. She tried getting up but was too tired. You should take some rest. Don't bother trying to get up. Rimuru holds her hand and starts gently patting her head. What happened? I know that Ifrit took over, but what happened and how did I get here? Is everyone okay? Rimuru then starts explaining what happened. I see, I'm sorry if I caused too much trouble. No, you didn't cause any trouble for me. Don't worry, you didn't hurt anyone. Shizu sighs in relief that she didn't hurt anyone this time. You won't die. I made sure of it. Just rest for a while. Rimuru smiles at her, causing her face to heat up. She runs her blushing face to the side, thinking, how the hell can she be so cute and hot at the same time? By the way, I looked into your memories while you were asleep. You don't have to worry about the kids. I'll save them. Shibu looks at her in disbelief and tears up a bit. Would you really? Can you actually save them? Haha, did you forget who I am? Of course I can save them. I can and I will. Shizu smiles as with tears welling up in her eyes. She grips onto Rimuru's hand very tightly, trying to stop the tears from flowing. Thank you very much. I tried looking for ways to save them for so long, but couldn't find any. But then, I met you and you changed my whole life in an instant. You let me stay here, removed Ifrit and gave me a new life, and now you're going to save my students. I can't thank you enough. You know, you can still live here if you want. I don't mind you staying. You're welcome to come here anytime. Thanks. Rimuru smiles at her and stands up. She turns around and starts heading out. She stops by the door and looks at her. You should get some rest. Just lay down and take a nice long nap. After that she goes out and shuts the door. Rimuru-san. Is Shizu-san okay? Irin questioned as her and her teammates went up to her. Yes, she is completely fine. She just needs to rest a bit and she'll be up within a day or two. This information obviously calmed her and her teammates down. They were released as Shizu would be alright. I will be going somewhere. So tell Seal and Testa that I'll be back later. Sure. Anything for you, Rimuru-san. Irin practically cried out. Rimuru teleports out of there and was then levitating thousands of feet in the air. She looks around and senses energy in one direction. Not just any energy, but true dragon ore. I have visited Velzard and Veldora lives with her. It's about time I go see my other little sister. I'll go meet my niece after that. She then flies over towards her sister's energy at unimaginable speeds. She doesn't want to accidentally destroy the planet over which she's flying on by moving too fast. Valgrind Pav. I was just having a nice walk around the area when suddenly I feel a massive amount of mana coming this way. I've sensed this before. I suddenly felt it a few days back, but then it disappeared just as quick. It was near Jura Forest. I also felt it going towards Bid's sister. Who could have such great magic? Is it Big Brother? No, it's similar but not the same. My thoughts are then interrupted as a streak of blue crashes down in front of me. I wait for the dust to clear and see exactly who it was. In front of me stood a gorgeous woman. Her silvery blue hair looked more smooth than anyone else's. Her bright golden eyes stared right into my soul. Now that I think about it, she looks a lot like Big Brother. It's nice to finally meet you, Valgrind. The lady spoke. Her voice sounds so lovely. How can someone so perfect exist? I regain my composure and look at her. Who are you? What do you want? I wanted to meet my dearest little sister. What? Little sister? What is she talking about? She has a true dragon core, and it doesn't seem like she's lying either. My name is Rimuru Tempest, the Void Dragon and true dragon of infinity. It's nice to meet you, Valgrind. Wait, so you're the one Velzard and Veldenava told me about. They said you were the strongest person they knew. That's right. I'm the oldest and strongest true dragon. I apologize for not being there to raise you in Veldora. Speaking of Veldora, he's not dead. He's living with me right now. It's quite alright. I'm just surprised at the fact that I have another big sister. Is it rude that you're stronger than Veldenava, and did you just say Veldora is living with you? Yes, I am stronger than Veldenava. Who do you think taught him to use his powers in the first place? Also yes, Veldora is living with me. I'm establishing a nation of monsters called the Jura Tempest Federation. But isn't it troublesome to look after him? Sometimes, but Seal deals with him most of the time. I see. I'm still unsure about all this. I guess that idiot can be disciplined. What do you do here? I'm following a hero named Rudra and helping him with the kingdom. My Cory little sister like a human. I blushed profusely when she said that. And no. It's not like that. She just laughs at my misery. She seems to love teasing me. Well, I'll be leaving now. Already I've barely known her, but I already love her so much. Yes, unfortunately. I just want you to know that you can come to Tempest anytime you want. Are you sure? Can I? Of course you can. Do you not want to come? She clutched her chest like she was hurt and looked like she was going to tear up. I panicked when I saw this. And no, that's not what I meant. I'll be happy to come visit you. I've only known her for a bit, but I feel uncomfortable when she's sad or hurt. She smiles at me when she heard me. That smile should be illegal. Well, see you later, Velgrand. Goodbye, Nisama. I'll see you later. And with that, she teleports out. Before I turn around to leave, I noticed something. Something that I should have seen a while back. I was standing in a 30-foot crater. Wait. It must have been when she landed. She created and talked to me, and I didn't even know the whole time we were talking inside this crater she made. Chapter 11. The Ogres and Ruminous Valentine. Rimuru Pav. It's been a few days since I visited Velgrand. Tempest has been getting more developed and looks like a small village now. Shizu-san also started living with us. Her, Seal and Testarossa are best friends. But sometimes I feel uncomfortable around them when they're together. Seal and Testa in particular give unsettling grins, and Shizu usually just sits there with her face bright red. I wonder what they're talking about. I wonder, are there rice plants here? It's been a very long time since I came here. Rigger told me that they would make a feast tonight. Me and Seal don't really need to eat, but we told them we'd join them for dinner today. I notice Rigger and Shizu standing there with a few of the goblins and D-rolls. Hey guys. They turn towards me and smile at me. Shizu ran up to me and hugged me. It's so good to see you, Rimuru. It's good to see you, to Shizu-san. We break our hug and turn to the others present there. Thanks for always bringing food. It's our pleasure, Lady Rimuru. We were just about to head into the forest now. Rigger tells me. Good. We will have a feast tonight, so make sure to bring back something delicious. I told them. Will you be eating with us this time? Rimuru Samagata asked me. Of course. I don't have to eat, but that doesn't mean I won't. Do you have a problem with that? Not a lol. He says and runs off. Ranga. I want you to tag along with them. Ranga comes out of my shadow after I said that and got into position. I watched as they left. I went over to my room and saw Seal sorting out files there. Good morning, dear. She greets me. Good morning, Seal. I see you're doing paperwork. Your paperwork, she says. I went over to her and kissed her. Thanks for taking care of it. Yes, praise me more. She proudly states. Where's Testa? I thought for sure she'd be with you. What do you talk to each other about anyway? Nothing. Nothing at all. She calmly states. I can tell she's lying. Seal, are you lying to me? It's just your imagination. Okay then. Rimuru, are you okay with polygamy? She asks out of the blue. My face goes beet red when she said that and I look at her in embarrassment. What's with the sudden question? Are you okay with having multiple lovers? Because I am. It will just make things more interesting for us. And besides, the elf girl from Dworgen did say that you will end up with multiple women. I can't express my words right now. I mean, she is right, but why did she ask that so suddenly? She fine with me dating other women too. But why did she suddenly say that? Before I could say anything, me and Seal hear Ranga's voice asking for assistance. I'll be right back, Seal. You can take care of things here, right? They do take me for she huffs at me. I instantly teleport out to Ranga's location and see Gopta on the floor. What happened? He looks at me in pain, and I see that he had a cut on his chest. Like he was slashed by a sword. It hurts so much. I'm going to die. Geez, calm down. The cut isn't that deep. I look forward and see Shizu fighting against what I assume are ogres. Oh, it's you, Lady Rimuru. You were worried and came to help us. I throw a healing potion on him and walk over to Ranga and Shizu. You guys. I'm not sure what really happened here, but I'm sorry for whatever we did. That's when Shizu and Ranga notice my presence there. Rimuru, Lady Rimuru. Show us your true colors, you lowly Majin. What did he just call me? The enslavement of monsters is something no mere human can do. We know what you are. The masked woman beside you seems like she's your subordinate, which means that you are the leader. How dare he call me a Majin? A weak little Majin. Oh, you'll play, you little red man. In honor of our friends, having your head will be a fitting price to avenge all the deaths you and your friends cause with those evil pigs. He doesn't seem to have any intention in listening to me. Ranga, you take the pink-haired one. But don't kill her. He nodded and went to fight her. Shizu, you should be able to take them on by yourself, but I'll help if you need me. There's no need for that, Rimuru. I'm Sirium, I can beat them. Well, of course you can. But I'll help you regardless. Such arrogance. They're underestimating us. The purple-haired one shouts out. Okay there, girly, I'm not being arrogant. I'm just stating the truth. The red one charges towards me, but he gets parried by Shizu and starts having an intense duel with him. The biggest in the group tries to flatten me with a hammer, but I cast a sleeping spell on him. I feel something hit my head and look back to see the purple-haired ogre woman slammed her spiked iron club onto my head. But too bad for her, the weapon just shattered on impact, and I simply look at her unimpressed. I tap her forehead and she falls asleep. A sword goes right past my face, but I just backhand him away, causing him to collide with a tree. Shizu steps back over to me looking barely phased while the red ogre looked a bit exhausted. The older one was standing by his side seems to have quite a bit of experience. It's true that you guys are strong, but that makes me even more sure. You are indeed friend with them, he declares. I notice his grip on his katana tighten as he starts shaking in anger. It's unimaginable for an orc to defeat a group of ogre like us. It was definitely you and your stupid Majin friends who attacked us. I immediately dodge a slash to the head with ease. The old geezer behind me has skill, I'll give him that. I think I'm starting to go senile. I could have sworn I cut off your head. Next time I won't miss, he calmly states. He surely has skill and experience. Ogre flame. The red one fires a wave of flames around me and Shizu. Nice try, but that won't work. I blow out the flames before they could even touch us. I've had it. This fight is over, I tell them. They all freeze at the feeling I'm giving off. Well, it's true that I'm basically not even trying right now. Not everyone can be strong enough to take down a true dragon. But I see that he hasn't given up yet. He's terrified but still won't give up. He said something about avenging his fallen comrades. Before he could do anything, the pink-haired girl stands in front of me, stopping the other one. Wait, big brother. These people might not be our enemies. At least she's smart and reasonable. Get out of the way. But she denied it. She would move one bit. But why she and the other ones are Majins? Just like the ones that attacked our village. You said it yourself some time ago. Yes, but try and think things through calmly, please. Why would such a powerful Majin use such an underhanded technique and use those pigs to attack our village? She has more than enough power to destroy us all, but she hasn't. I can also sense that it's only a fraction of what she's capable of. And the other on seems to be weaker, but still strong enough to take us all on. Time skip. We were all back at the village and this time, the ogres tagged along. They realized that we weren't the ones who attacked them and apologized for misunderstanding. They revealed that their village was attacked by orcs, and everyone was massacred. They were the only ones who survived. By now it was already nighttime and we were all having a feast. The orcs were held by some masked Majin. They could be working under Demon Lord. I walked over to the leader, who was talking with Rigurd, Gopta and Cajun. Lady Rimuru, did you have enough food? The ogre asked me. Yup. Your sister is amazing. Her immense knowledge on herbs and medicines allowed her to get along well with the gobbling of this village in no time. So what do you plan on doing? We'll build up our strength and fight again. You know where they are. He doesn't even have a plan. How about a suggestion? Would you guys like to be my subordinates? Well, you'll get food, shelter, clothing and my protection. You will also grow much stronger. But that would put your entire village at risk. I know. It's fine. You don't have to answer it right now. I'll give you time to think. I walked away from the group. As I was walking through the village, I sense a rather strong presence. Feels like a vampire but also not. Is it a demon lord? She's in the cave that Veldora was sealed in. I teleport over there to see what was going on. Third person POV. The demon lord, Ruminous Valentine, searching through the cave to see if Veldora really did disappear. Rimuru walked up to her from behind and tapped her shoulder, startling her. She backed away in surprise and turned around, but the stopped and just started at her. She starts blushing when she sees Rimuru's beauty, but shakes it off immediately. Who are you? Why couldn't I sense you? Ruminous questions her. I should be asking you the same thing. From the presence and aura you're emitting, I'd say you're a demon lord. Am I right? Ruminous looked at her in shock. This individual is Ruminous Valentine. She came here because 300 years ago, he went on a rampage and destroyed your nation. So, Veldora destroyed your city. I'm terribly sorry about that. Ruminous looked at her in shock. How did she know? Before she could say, Rimuru pinned her to a wall. She pinned her hands above her head and put her knee between the demon lord's legs. Rimuru's face was very close to hers. Ruminous was a blushing mess and couldn't even say anything. She tried to break free, but Rimuru's grip was too strong for her. How's she so strong? So, tell me why you're here, vampire. I came here to see if Veldora's disappearance was real. She looks to the side to hide a red face. Rimuru smiles at her gently and lets her go. Well, it's good to see you, Ruminous. My name is Rimuru Tempest. Ruminous regains her composure and looks at Rimuru, face still a bit red. Nice to meet you, Miss Rimuru. We're having a feast at my village. Do you want to join? She gently asks. Ruminous was surprised that this was the same person who pinned her to the wall in a rather inappropriate way. No thank you. I have to go back to my home. Well, that's too bad. Guess it can't be helped. You're welcome to come to Tempest anytime. Thank you for your offer. Chapter 12. Lizardmen and a dried. Third person Pav. Deep inside the swampy marshlands lies the Lizardmen. Reporting in. An army of orcs has been spotted at the south of Lake Shizu. They appear set to invade the domain of the Lizardmen. Orcs prepare for war. We'll slaughter all those pigs. The king, who was sitting on the throne, looked at them seriously. How many are there? A female Lizardman who was beside the king was the one who asked this question. The number of orcs in this army is roughly 200,000 strong. This causes most of them to go into disarray and disbelief, especially the female one. That's ridiculous. Their army is 20 times bigger than ours. We use magic perception and heat perception to verify the numbers. I would stake my life on their validity. The king looks at him with a calm but serious face. Good job. You may rest. Okay. The messenger got up and left the room. 200,000. How does one manage to satiate the appetites of such an absurdly large horde of orcs? The king truly wondered how this was possible. Orcs are usually such a disorganized and selfish race. It's unheard of for anyone to lead an army of 200,000 of them. It's a mere rumor, but I heard they destroyed an ogre village. The others in the room besides the king himself were shocked at this and looked at him, unable to believe his words. What did you say? The Orc Lord. The only one capable of leading an orc army of 200,000 is the legendary unique monster known as the Orc Lord. Everyone in the room go tense when the king said this. If the Orc Lord truly is the one leading the army, then they wouldn't stand a chance. If that were the case, then it would explain how such a large number of orcs are kept together. But what could he want with us? None of that matter. The problem is whether we can defeat them or not. Seeing this, the king decides to speak up. If this truly is the incarnation of the Orc Lord, victory will be very difficult to grasp. The Orc Lord is an extremely strong monster that consumes the fear of his allies. This is all just talk. However, we need to do all that we can. What do you have in mind? I suppose we should request for reinforcements. Son. Is my son present from out of the shadows? Can a Lizardman? I'm right here. But, father, why do you insist on addressing me so inelegantly? My name is Kabir. It was given to me by Lord Jelmid. He kneels down in front of his father. It doesn't matter what I call you. There's something I want you to take care of. Kabir his head and looks at his father. And what would that be? Meanwhile in Tempest. Rimuru Pav. The ogres had joined me and became my subordinates. I gave them all the names, Benimaru, Shion, Shuna, Hikuro, Sui and Kurub. The ogres all evolved into Kijins and became exponentially stronger than before. They were all completely loyal to me. Shion had become my secretary and my second bodyguard, besides Testarossa. Her and Shuna would always fight over who would get to spend time with me, and Shizu would always stop them, while Testa and Seal watch in amusement. I'm seriously starting to think that they're planning something. I also found out that Shion should never be allowed in the kitchen. Shion waiting to cook lunch for me, so I was happy to accept. Benimaru, Hikuro and Saoya looked extremely scared and traumatized when they heard this. I later found out exactly why they reacted that way. Tessa looked scared and Shizu was worried about me. Hell, even Seal was scared and worried. Seal forbid Shion from ever going into the kitchen because of that incident. I had to use Azathoth to absorb the food as soon as it entered my mouth to make it look like I actually ate it. Something that only Seal had noticed. The Kijins were shocked that I didn't die, and all the girls besides Shion and Seal were concerned about my health. Dopta and his friends, the Goblin Riders, were all being given harsh and strict training by Hikuro. I was standing beside Benimaru and watching this training lesson. Orc Lord, what is that? I'll put it in simple terms. A monster. That is very simple. He turns to me, ignoring the one-sided tracing the Goblin Riders were getting. It is said that one is born amongst the orcs every few centuries. A unique monster. He is set to consume the fear and terror in his allies, making him an unsurpassed leader. The orcs that attacked our village were entirely unaffected by the deaths of their comrades. I figured that this could explain why. The possibility that this is true is quite low. You looked at him. Do you think there's any other reason why they attacked your village? I'm not sure about this, but before the orcs showed up, Imagine visited our village. He said he'll name us, but he smelled of lies. So, I sent him away and he cursed at me as he left. I would never serve an unsuitable master, nor would I ever accept a name from just anyone. You know, he smiled at me, and I smiled back. That's when Saoya showed up. Lady Rimuru, I have a report. What is it? I spotted a group of Lizardmen. I came to notify you right away, since seeing them around here is rare and unusual. They seem to be negotiating with nearby goblin villages. I would think that they will eventually make their way here. I nodded and made my way to the village entrance. The one leading them stepped up and started posing. I am Kabir of the Lizardmen. Submit yourselves to my command. Consider this an honor. Did he really just say that? How arrogant. Who the hell does he take me for? I feel a bunch of scary aura around me. Seal, Testarossa and Shion were pissed off, and Shizu herself wasn't pleased. Their boys stepped away from them as to not die. That's when Rigard decided to speak up. Pardon me. Did you say that you're called Kabiru? This request to submit to you is rather sudden. Do you still not get it? Haven't you heard by now that there's an orc army led by Orc Lord? That draws the attention of the Kijins. That is why, joining me is the best choice you will get. Kabiru will protect you, feeble weakling, from the indomitable orcs. Feeble weakling. Feeble, he continues, but then noticed the size of Xion's bust. Feeble, wow. This got me mad. How dare he stare at my Xion. He blinks and goes back to discuss with his companions about this being a goblin village, and not seeing any goblins. I heard you tamed deerelves. I'll make them leaders in my army. It's best to come along. At this point, I'm surprised he's not dead yet. The only reason Testarossa hasn't already killed him is because I told her not to. We didn't tame them, we befriended them. He looked at me after I said that and didn't believe a word. Ranga, come out. He wants to talk to you. Ranga jumps out of my shadow in his full size and stares at Kabiru menacingly. My mistress ordered me to talk to you. I'm listening, so start talking. Are you the leader of the deerelves? Your beautiful fur and perceptive eyes give you a truly imposing air. However, seeing as your mistress is just a weak human, is quite disappointing. This pissed me and everyone around me off. I just had to go there. I don't think I can hold Testarossa back any longer. You impudent lizard. You dare to mock my mistress Ranga, and Testa had an incredible aura surrounding them. He's dead meat now. That's when Gopta showed up. Testarossa dragged and forced him to face off against Kabir. What the hell is going on? Lizard, if you defeat this one, we'll consider your offer. She being surprisingly calm about this. Kabiru then started taunting me for using a subordinate against him, instead of facing him myself. He wouldn't even be able to beat one of the Kijins, much less Testa, Seal and me. Gopta, don't hold back against him. He turns to me with a confused look. Why do I have to do it? If you win, I'll personally make a special new weapon for you. Seriously, I'm getting some motivation. If you lose, you have to eat Xion's cooking. This fired him up more than anything. You could see golden aura flowing off him. That will never happen. For whatever reason, I'm not liking this conversation. She lets out a scary aura, with her face shadowed. Gopta throws his spear right at him, which he barely dodged. When he tried to attack Gopta, he saw that he wasn't there anymore. Gopta then appeared out of his shadow and kicked him in the back of his head, knocking him out instantly. The Lizardmen were shocked at this. I turned to Kabiru's troops. If you want out help against the orcs, we'll consider it. But, we will not serve you. Take him and be on your way. They took him and left. I feel like he will go do something stupid. Just another headache for me. Time skip. We were all in the meeting room, talking to each other about this issue. Cajun was in deep thought but then started speaking. Orcs aren't the most intelligent of creatures. If this invasion was driven by anything other than instinct, we should assume that there is someone who is backing them up. To this Kurb looked confused. Who would back them up? A demon lord? Maybe it was Seal who said that. Everyone became silent at that. Seal was the smartest person in the room, in the whole world. If she said something, it's most likely right. And this Jalma person could also be involved in this. I looked at my partner. We don't have the evidence to back that up, not that I'm doubting you in the least. And if it is a demon lord, then I know for a fact that it's not Leon Cromwell. At the name of Leon, Shizu flinched and you knew exactly why. Benamera came to the conclusion that whoever it was, had something to do with the Orc Lord. But suddenly, me, Seal, Testarossa and Saoi feel something weird. Saoi then proceeds to talk. One of my clones is telling me about someone who is requesting an audience with you, Lady Rimuru. How should I respond? It is that I've had enough of Kabir. They're not stranger in the least, but it's an incredibly rare encounter. Seal then looks at me and starts speaking for Saoi. It's a Dryad. This was a shock to many. Last time a Dryad revealed itself must have been decades ago. Rigurd stated. Call her over. Just then, a bright green glow envelopes the room, and out comes a Dryad. She was quite beautiful too. Ruler of Monster and all those who follow you, I apologize for his unexpected visit. I am the Dryad called Trainee. It's a pleasure to meet you. Trainee bows down to you. It's an honor to meet a true dragon such as yourself. Even more so that Out Guardian, Lord Veldora is in this room with us. Gahahaha. Thanks for taking care of my forest of Jura. You and Seal deadpan at him, while Trainee seems to be touched. I am unworthy of such praise. Such a task is no way enough to repay you for taking my sisters and me, when we were separated from the Queen of Spirits. He actually did that. Don't mention it. Gahahaha. I look at him with a skeptical look. Are you really Veldora? I don't think you would do that. I did do that. I smiled at that. Everyone I've met always described this idiot as a bloodthirsty dragon that loves to destroy for fun. This is certainly a first. While it is weird that you of all people would do that, I am glad you finally did something with your life. But remember, no more funny business from now. I will be training you so that you can get an actual ultimate skill. When he heard this voice, he immediately shrieked down. It was Seal who said that, and let's just say that he was terrified of her. Why yes ma'am. Turns out that Trainee wants me to defeat the Orc Lord. She knew I could do it. Actually, do I even need to fight it? I'm sure that Testarossa could kill it with ease. We agreed to this, and I sent Saoi to the Lizardmen village to inform them about this. Meanwhile with the Lizardmen. Third person Pav. Chief, what should we do? The female beside the king asked. We will fortify our position. We cannot face an army of 200,000 orcs in an open battle. That's when some course bust in and started talking about an intruder. Said intruder was allowed to speak to the chief, as they had felt his aura. Out from the shadows came Saoi. I apologize. I'm rather busy at the moment and cannot extend any hospitality. Don't worry about it. I am merely envoy. I came here bearing a message from my mistress. The guards lowered their weapons and allowed him to speak. And what would that be? My mistress wishes to form an alliance with the Lizardmen. An alliance, and yet, I have no knowledge of who your mistress is. My mistress is Lady Rimuru Tempest. She received a request from the Dryads to defeat the Orc army. This was a shock to many. A direct appeal from the protectors of the forest. She told us that the Orc army is indeed being led by the Orc Lord. Take that into account as you make your consideration. The chief goes into deep thought at this. One of the guards decide to speak up. Rimuru. I've never heard that name before. It's more likely that she fears the Orc Lord and has come crying to us. As she wants to ask for help before he could finish, a thread was wrapped around his neck, and it was so sharp that his neck started bleeding. Wait, don't kill him. I apologize for his behavior. Can you forgive him? This offer is mutually beneficial, right? Saoi let go of the string, and he fell down panting. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to harm him. But I cannot tolerate such ridicule of my mistress. And no, this offer is mainly beneficial to you over us. Lady Rimuru wants to build a nation compromised entirely of monsters, who all live alongside each other. Joining us will make you citizens of Tempest. Judging from your aura, you are an ogre, right? I am no longer an ogre. I was given the name Saoi and I became a Kijin. This surprised them all. If that's the case, this master of yours possessed superior strength to you, Kijins. That right? Lady Rimuru could easily wipe out the entire Orc army and the Orc Lord all by herself. She is the strongest person that I have ever known. If that's the case, I would like to meet your master, Rimuru Tempest. Understood. We will make preparations and meet you here in under a week. When that time comes, you may have an audience with her. Make sure that you do not engage in battle before then. Understood. Saoi then excused himself and left the place immediately. They all started to finally get some hope, but it was interrupted as Kabiru walked in the throne room. Father. I have returned. Chapter 13. Orc Battle. Rimuru Pav. Me and the rest of my followers were riding towards the land of the Lizardmen. Towards the marshlands. I was accompanied by Shizu, Benimaru, Shion, Hikuro, Saoi, Ranga and the Goblin Riders. The reason why Testarossa isn't here is because I gave her some other work to do. Shuna and Rigard were in charge of protecting the village. Lady Rimuru. I heard Saoi call me. What is it? I've discovered a group that is currently in battle. Among them is the Lizardman chief's close aide. It seems like they are in combat with high-ranked orcs. What should I do? It's not like we can just leave them to die. Can you save them? What a fast reply. Is he trying to imply that he's good because he's handsome? Go on, we'll catch up soon. We went over to Saoi's location, and all we came across were dead bodies of orcs. It seems that Saoi is really quite capable at this. Saoi is holding into the only survivor from the group, a female lizardman. She's badly injured. She needs treatment quickly. My hands glow bright green, and suddenly all her wounds are healed, and her stamina is completely restored. What my wounds are? I thought they were fatal wounds. Who are you? I smiled at her. My name Rimuru Tempest. When she heard my name, she immediately dropped to her knees and begged me. I'm begging you. Please help my father, the Lizardman chief, as well as my brother, Kabir. Are you Kabir's sister? Yes. What happened then? My brother, Kabir, attempted a coup d'etat and contained the chief. It seems like my brother wanted to chase thee away alone. However, he is underestimating the orcs, and if this continues then the Lizardman race will be wiped. My father helped me escape when the guard weren't looking. We broke our promise that we should wait for you, and this may sound like a selfish request. However, I implore you to show mercy on us as those who serve the powerful magic born. I beg you. I beg you. Shion crouches down and pats her head. Will said. To think that you have known about the greatness of Our Lady Rimuru. You have potential. That isn't how it works, Shion. Hey Shion. Stand up. As you wish, the Lizardman clan will be saved. Hold on a minute. The chief's daughter started to thank her over and over. Accepting jobs without asking, that's exactly how secretaries work. Did I ever mention that Shion is an airhead? Well, we will be fighting the Orc Lord anyway. Let's see, you're the chief's daughter, right? Oh, yes. She gets on her knees. It is as you said. Alright, I'll recognize you as a representative of the clan's chief. We'll form our alliance right here. Is that fine with you? No, I don't mind. It's decided then. Our alliance has been formed. Saoi, you go and rescue the chief. He nods and sinks into his shadow. The chief's daughter was tearing up and thanking me. I'm extremely grateful. Small time skip. Kabir is having a duel with an extremely powerful orc, but somehow it's not the Orc Lord. It was an orc general, a monster far inferior to the Orc Lord. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't win. The orc general was too strong and they were surrounded. There was no way they could win nor escape. It looked like all hope had been lost until Gupta emerged from Kabiru's shadow. Aren't you the term master of the goblin village? Gupta turns to him with confusion written all over his face. What are you talking about? That is Gupta, the leader of the goblin riders. Kabir turns to see Ranga standing beside him. You're from the Direwolf clan. My name is Ranga. In the name of Lady Rimuru, we are here to lend you a hand. The orc general starts to laugh, gaining the attention of both Ranga and Kabir. Rimuru, I've never heard of her, but you are here to get in my way. I will show you no mercy. Just after saying that, a massive sphere of black flames popped up behind him. This was followed by several more of these black flames that consumed thousands of orcs. From within the flames, walked out the Kijans. Don't you remember us, how mean? You guys ate our village, right? Benamaru looked at them, and they all gripped their weapons. Those horns, don't tell me you're an ogre. I wonder. Right now, we're a little different than we were before. The crow pulls out his katana like the badass he is. It's finally time. I'm grateful to Lady Rimuru for presenting us with such an opportunity. Shians brings out a massive claymore. Benamaru had a ball of black fire on the palm of his hand. Allow me to repeat once again. Make way for us, damn orcs. Unless you wish to die without leaving any traces of your body. Benamaru throws the ball of fire at them, and several dodge, but the others behind them weren't so lucky. The attack instantly consumed them, leaving no traces of their bodies just like he had said. Ranga creates a huge thunderstorm, blowing away several of the orcs. A literal death storm. He also killed the orc general by himself. The crow runs through them all, beheading them and cutting the up swiftly. Lady Rimuru's glorious victories in war. And this will be the first step. Shion finished the line for him. She slams her blade down on the ground, splitting the earth. Meanwhile, Saoi had rescued the chief and killed all the orcs in the way. While this was happening, Jalmud, a magic born and showed up. How dare you? You've gone ahead and spoiled the Lord Jalmud's plans. Just a few more steps and I would have gotten a fully awakened demon lord who is completely under my command. But you guys ruined it. Fat chance. That thing is far too weak to be a demon lord. That's Surgit. That's why I gave so many names and sowed so many seeds. I was creating a powerful guardian. The Kijans all were mad at him now. They looked really mad right now. So that why? The crow glared at him. Saoi lost his usual calm and cool mental state and for once looked genuinely pissed off. You appeared. In our village. Shion looked like she was going to murder this man 10 times over. Her grip on her weapon tightened and her veins were popping out. Oh? It's Lord Jalmud. It was Kabiru who said that. The person who named him was here. Kabir thought that he was here to save them, but he was very wrong about that. You useless idiot. You'll soon be the Orc Lord's next meal. You're a useless and incompetent fool that's always getting in the way. The Orc Lord will devour you and turn you into his power. Kabiru started to break down, and Rimuru looked at him in sympathy. She really did feel bad for him at this moment. Jalmud then says that he'll make the Orc Lord into a demon lord. Something called the Orc Disaster. I landed next to the Kijans. Shizu. Could you please be a dear and shut him up? I'm getting a headache because of him. Shizu brings out her sword and charges at him. Before he could even react, his arm was completely severed off. Does she get stronger than last time? Yes. Shizu is always slowly developing a hero arc. She will soon get a hero seat, and once requirements are fulfilled, become a true hero. She has also gained the ultimate skill, Lord of Fire, Hephaestus. So she'll become a true hero eventually. That great then. Also, did you give her that ultimate skill? You did, didn't you? It's just your imagination. Jalmud fires an attack at Kabiru, but I blocked it. Getting desperate, he tries to force the Orc Lord into helping him, which only leads to him getting killed and eaten up by his own guardian. The Orc Lord known as Geld has gained a Demon Lord seed and evolved into an unawakened Demon Lord. The Orc Disaster, Demon Lord Geld. Shion charges at him with her weapon in hand. You're just a filthy pig and you dare to call yourself a Demon Lord, you're insolent. Shion slams her blade onto his, creating a massive shockwave. Geld manages to push her back, but she regained her footing and ran back at him. While he was focused on her, the crow swiftly cut off his head. But to his surprise, the orc didn't die. Instead, his head just reattached itself to his body. Saoi tied it up with wearing, and Benamaru fired a flame attack on him. Ranga then controls the weather and strikes lightning into him. However, even this isn't enough to stop him. An orc walks up to him and offers himself as food to the Orc Disaster, who gained even more strength than before. Vel creates two balls of energy on his hand and throws them in the air, causing it to separate into several energy balls. But suddenly, they all burst into flames and explode. Shizu looks at me. May I be my guest? Shizu smiles at you and then charges ahead to fight the Orc Disaster. Geld launches several attacks, all of which she dodged and kept running reward. In the blink of an eye, the orc had lost its arm. Shizu surrounded her sword in hot flames and slammed her weapon onto his own. The heat from the flames was so hot that it completely consumed and burned his weapon. Vel couldn't regenerate his hand because of the effects that the flame had left on it. He yanks his arm off and grows a new one. He creates several arms of energy and throws them at Shizu. This time, I will devour you. Shizu creates a wave of fire to counter the energy blasts. The pulse wave was so strong that it destroyed all of the energy balls Geld had created. The orc rushed forwards and grabbed onto her. Shizu's eyes turn orange, and a massive magic circle is formed under the orc disaster, creating a torrent of flames. However, these flames didn't affect him in the slightest, and he laughed at his victory. Shizu smirked and focused her fire in her hands and sighed. She ended up heating his arm to the point of causing it to explode. Shizu slides back to my side and smiles at me. I'm done for today. You can finish him off now. The orc rushed at me in blind rage and jumps at me. I raise my hand and backhand the orc so hard that his body had completely exploded. It was now nothing more than a giant puddle of red on the ground. I looked into the creature's memories and saw the real reason for why he did what he did. Also, are those people still watching us? It's been a while, so I thought I'll just ignore them, but why I need my privacy. I looked at the sky and waved. Meanwhile, in some unknown place. Third-person POV. There were 4 people in a room together. These 4 weren't actually normal either. They were demon lords. They have been watching Tenwell fight through a crystal ball. The black-haired girl was quite strong. She managed to nearly defeat that fake demon lord. A small pink-haired girl exclaimed. A silver-haired girl was looking at the Rimuru. She is indeed quite strong, Milim. But I want to know why the leader isn't fighting. She probably scared. I bet she can't even actually fight and has to hide behind the backs of those other people. The man who said this had pale lavender hair and red eyes. It was Clayman. They then saw Rimuru joining the fight and ending it in one slap. 3 of the 4 were shocked while Milim was curious and interested. She could feel a true dragon core emanating from her, and it was identical to that of her father, Veldenava. When they saw Rimuru wave at them, they were even more shocked than before. A tall, buff blonde man looked at her in surprise. How did she know about us? She sensed us. She's extremely strong. I want to go meet her. I have a few questions I want to ask her myself, Milim declared. She was determined in finding out who she was, and why her presence was so similar to her father's. Clayman, on the other hand, was in panic. He didn't expect anyone that strong to show up. I need to be careful of her. Chapter 14. My cute little niece. Rimuru POV. The Jura Tempest Federation had been formed. King Gazel of Dworgen came to visit me. The two have formed an alliance with each other. The Lizardmen joined us and the Orcs were forgiven. Despite all the losses, the Orc Lord only did what he did because of starvation. He didn't want his people to starve and die. Over 150,000 Orcs were brought over to Tempest. It sure took me a while to name them all. I gave the new leader of the Orcs Guild after the Orc Lord, or should I say Orc Disaster. Rimuru. I'm here. Gazel was standing in front of me with a bright smile. I wonder what he wanted. Gazel, what are you doing here? I just wanted to give you a present. Present, he signals to some of his men and they throw a sack onto the ground. When it was removed, I ended seeing that it was Vesta. Vesta. He's so capable, it'll be a shame to let him fool around all the time. However, I will not allow him to serve me anymore. Use him as you like. Cajun stepped forward after he said that. My king. This would mean that Vesta's knowledge would be given to us. Are you saying that this is someone who has left the kingdom? Cajun was taken back by this. This is why the alliance was made. Make this land that you have chosen into a pioneer of new unprecedented technology. Vesta. Vesta, who is now awake, snapped out of his thoughts. Yes. Feel free to conduct your researches in any way you wish. Vesta gets on his knees with tears welling up in his eyes. Yes, my king. I will not betray your expectations. Not this time. He then turns to me and Cajun with an apologetic look. Lady Rimuru. Mrs. Cajun. I'm very sorry. If you could forgive me, could you kindly let me work here? I'd be more than happy to let a skilled researcher like you join us. Lady Rimuru, I'll take responsibility if anything happens. Please trust me, and forgive him. Cajun requested of me. Vesta looked at him with tears in his eyes. Cajun. If Cajun is fine with it, then I am too. Vesta, I'll be in your care. Although, I'm not sure how Testa would react. Don't worry, I'll keep her away from you. Vesta's face went pale at the mention of the white-haired demon. Looks like he actually knows who she is now. As they left, I turned around to see Kabiru and a bunch of other lizardmen clapping. What are you doing here? Kabiru has arrived swiftly, hoping that I may have service to Lady Rimuru. A few of the lizardmen behind him started to tell him about how cool he is. Xian, on the other hand, placed a hand on her weapon. Well then, I'll start slicing him. No? We're hoping that you would allow us to be your followers. I'm sure we could be of some use. Him and those behind him kneels down. His sister walked up to me. My brother's reflecting on his actions. I would like you to give him a chance to atone. You're here too. Unlike me, brother, I have not been disowned by my father. Kabiru certainly looked shocked at that. My father, Abiru, has sent me here in hopes that I can get more experience. I gave her the name Saka. She and her subordinates were sent to Saue. I renamed Kabiru as Kabir. His name was pretty good, so I gave him the same name. Saka had evolved into something more humanoid. I then felt a strong presence coming this way. It get draconic, but not completely. Seal, who is that? The individual coming here is the Demon Lord, Veldenava. Your niece. I looked up dumbfounded. Veldenava's daughter. Well, I better go and greet my niece then. I turned to Shizu and the others. I'll be going now. My niece is on her way here. You guys stay here until I'm back. I teleported to the place she would be landing at. I see a pink blue coming my way like a meteorite. It crashes right in front of me with force so strong that it makes a massive crater. The dust and wind blew at my face, but I was unfazed. Seal deadpanned at me. Looks like she inherited your bad landing skill. Nice to meet you. I'm the one and only Dragonoid, also known as the Destroyer. Demon Lord Veldenava. The dust revealed a short and adorable girl with an adorable voice. She had pink hair that was tied in pigtails and blue eyes. Also, her choice of clothing wasn't really the best I'd seen. She walks up to me. You seem to be the strongest in this town. So I came here to meet you. Besides that, I also have some questions to ask. It's nice to finally meet my niece. She stopped when I said that. And niece, who are you? I gave her the biggest smile I could. I am Rimuru Tempest, the true void dragon god, and the older sister of your father, Veldenava. I'm your eldest aunt. It's nice to finally meet you. She looked at me flabbergasted. She didn't seem to believe but also did believe me. What how? I've never been told about you. Not even by Aunt Velzard. I'm sorry. I had a reason behind me absence. You might not believe me, but I'm pretty sure you can feel my draconic aura. I walked up to her and hugged her tightly. I'm so happy to see you. Come on. I'll show you around my nation. Milim nodded her head and hugged me back. She looked up at and gave me a toothy smile. I took her with me to the town. She looked everywhere with stars in her eyes. But then, Kabiru showed up and said something he shouldn't have. Is this shorty? He was immediately met with a hard fist to the face, sending him flying into the middle of town. Milim looked down on him with an ice-cold glare. Who are you calling a shorty? Do you want to get killed? Listen up. I'm in an extremely good mood right now. I just found out about my eldest aunt, and that's why I'll forgive you this time. There won't be any chances next time. Kabiru gets up and looks at me. By the way, who is this short? Milim's smile turns into a death glare. Oh, who might this young lady be? She Milim. A demon lord. She's also my niece. He looked like he just had a heart attack from shock. Everyone around me who heard this were shocked and started to murder and spread the news. Kabiru quickly gets on his knees and bows his head. I'm terribly sorry. I didn't know you were Lady Rimuru's niece. I didn't even know your greatness had a niece. Time skip. We were now standing in the town center. All the citizens of Tempest swarmed around us. What is she? The demon lord Milim. This is the first time I've seen her. I will be living here from now on with my aunt. I'll be in your care. I had told them all that Milim was my niece. Oh, and by the way, if anyone touches her, they will be spending an eternity in the most painful and hellish place I know. But then suddenly, Veldora pushed through the crowd. Milim, what are you doing here? Veldora. It's good to see my only uncle again. Did Aunt Rimuru free you from your seal? Yes, she did. Trust me, Milim, you will have the best time of your life here. The two of them started talking and playing with one another. I'm starting to think that they act somewhat similar. Seal. Shizu. Can the two of you show Milim around? Seal comes out of my body and stands next to Milim. Of course. Oh, and by the way, Tessarasa has returned from her mission. She's currently in the underworld, waiting for your arrival. Thanks for informing me, Seal. The two of them take Milim and show her around the place while I got to Testa's current location. I saw her standing there with 3 other people. Did you do what I asked, Testa? Yes, of course, Lady Rimuru. I would never disappoint you. I patted her head, causing her to blush a bit. She looks like she's enjoying my hand pats. I then turned to face the other 3 people here. 1 male and 2 females. Now then, let's get straight to the point. I want you 3 to become my subordinates. I would love that. To be able to serve someone as great as yourself. I heard from Blanc just how great you are and have even seen it myself. I humbly ask to be your servant. The male demon kneels down, shocking me and Testa. That was surprisingly easy. Don't you have any shame, War? I saw the blonde-haired demon girl looking at him with an angry look on her face. We're supposed to be primordial demons. And yet here you are, graciously accepting to be of service to someone we don't even know. You too, Blanc. Stop calling me that. I now go by the name of Tessarasa. The others looked at her in shock. The short purple-haired girl showed her surprise. You've been named. That's right. Not only did she name me, but she also gave names to all the people of Tempest. The population of our town exceeds well over 200,000, just so you know. Will I have my reasons for accepting her offer? Our soon-to-be mistress is much stronger than you think. The raven-haired demon spoke. He was still on the ground, kneeling. He's surprisingly easy. So, you're the stalker that's been watching Shizu and later me. Tessa looked at him with fury. You've been stalking my mistress. I should teach you your place. Stronger than ever before. I'm pretty sure that I've surpassed you in war. I am happy at your decision, Black Primordial Demon. Now then, what about you two? I would accept this offer as easily as those two did. The blonde John stated proudly. I looked at the purple-haired girl. What about you? Same as her. I would acknowledge you as my master unless I know how strong you really are. So you want to fight me? Yes. They both responded simultaneously. I smirked. If that's the case. I started to release a small fraction of my power. The two demonesses immediately got serious and tense. Tessarasa and War moved back a bit. Let the battle begin. Chapter 15. Tessa's Reward. Third-person POV. The yellow primordial creates a field of high gravity trying to weaken me. Everything around us started to collapse. The ground, the boulders, the rocks, everything was getting crushed. I felt a large pressure on myself, acting from all directions. I recognized this move. Gravity collapse. The skill that creates a strong gravity field causing the gravity in the area to go rampant, which leads to everything in it getting crushed under their own weight. The purple primordial then launches a bunch of tendrils of black flames that burst on impact. When the fire hit me, I noticed something. These flames are poisoned and the poison is extremely deadly. Too bad for her, I'm immune to all poisons. Except maybe Xian's cooking. They both fire a condensed attack at me. The attack got closer to me, thought acceleration making it look very slow. I don't bother to try to block it though. I want to see just how strong they really are. I then noticed that the yellow one tries to break past my defense, and even tried to lower my durability. I felt my skin freeze up. I saw my skin becoming black and crumbling. I broke it and cancelled out the corrosion. Man, she's a tough one. I heard her say. Her durability is crazy. She hasn't even tried attacking us yet. It seems as that she wants to gauge our strength first. I knew she'd be a tough one. If she could make Blanc and Noir submit to her, she was bound to be strong. The purple one is analytic. So, they want to test my power as well. I wonder if this will work. Violet raised her hand and my head felt a bit strange. I glared at the little one, my eyes glowing a bright gold. Did you just try to enter my mind? Violet looked taken back by this. She had sweat dripping down her face. I had cancelled her skill and kicked her out of my mind. She looked at Carrera with a serious look on her face. John, be careful. This woman's no joke. I can't enter her mind or weaken her defenses. Moreover, my poison didn't affect her, and your gravity collapse isn't slowing her down even a little. Looks like we underestimated her. We should get serious if we want to win. Of course you do. Who do you think I am? The two of them for several energy balls at me, but they all stopped before they hit me. They all burst in nuclear fashion, creating a massive explosion can be seen for miles. Did that get her? The smoke cleared and I stood tall, no scratches on my body. No, it did not. The blonde ungritted her teeth, while the purple one stepped back a little. John suddenly creates an orb of black energy on the palm of her hand. She throws it at me and I dodged it. I watched as the orb consumed everything in its path, creating a massive pathway of debris. All the mountains within its path looked like they had chunks bitten off them. Quite impressive, I must say. She then created multiple and launches them all at me. Suddenly, my veins freeze up. I see the purple on with her eyes glowing and her hand extended out. She's saying to cause me pain. John increased the gravity on me several dozen times to try and keep me in one place, as dozens of these orbs burst. The collision creating a massive explosion in similar fashion to a nuke. This explosion destroyed everything nearby us. Several kilometers of land was destroyed, a massive crater was formed in the middle of the rubble. The two of them looked tired. They probably thought it was over this time, but no. I was standing there in the middle of the crater smiling at them. Nice attack. Quite a strong one. They looked at me in shock. I don't blame them though. Seriously, that did nothing. How? That attack should have destroyed her body and even her soul. Too bad, girls. I'm far from normal. I'll show you what gravity really looks like. I held my hand up high. The sky above us darkened as there was immense heat. The clouds parted and gave way to a large piece of rock. A meteor. The compact of the meteor colliding with the surface of the ground could be seen for miles. The entire forest of Jura and the kingdoms around us started getting earthquakes due to this. I looked down and saw both of them down on the floor. Tessa flew up to me. You've gone too far, Lady Rimuru. What if you killed them? Don't worry about it. They'll be fine. I brought my hand out and they were both healed completely. The earthquake all stopped and all of the destroyed mountains and craters were repaired. It looked like nothing even happened. Noir looked at me in surprise. You can do that? Did my lady just manipulate reality? Yes, I did. He then started frowning, saying about how cool I was and that my power is behind this world. I walked over to the two primordials on the ground. So, do you two give up? The two of them got on their knees and bowed down to me. We accept you as our master who we shall serve till death. I smiled at them and patted them both in the head. Now that you three have become my subordinates, you should all be given names. And names, are you sure? Violet seemed a little unsure. We would love to be given names, but naming 3 primordial demons at the same time, John was just as unsure as Violet. Noir, on the other hand, was delighted. It would be an honor to be given a name by someone as great as yourself, Lady Rimuru. Does he really have that much faith in me? From today, the 3 of you will be Ultima, Carrere and Diablo. Please take care of me. A black mist surrounded them and they all evolved, much stronger than before. They all got down on their knees. We pledge our loyalty to you. I smiled and teleported us all back to Tempest. I introduced them to everyone and told them who I really was. It took them a while for them to process it though. I asked Seal to show them around and explain to them on how things work here. Testa, you've done extremely well today. She smiled and bowed to me. Thank you for your praise, Lady Rimuru. I smirked at her and grabbed her hand. She looked startled as I practically dragged her to my room. I pushed her inside and created a barrier. I believe you deserve a reward. After I was done, I looked down to see that she had lost consciousness. I smiled at her and pulled up the covers, putting her in bed and covering up her naked body. I kissed her gently and changed to my clothes. I walked out of my room and was met with Seal standing outside. I was expecting a death glare or something along those lines, but instead, she had a smirk in her face. Have fun. I blushed a little. Damn it. Why am I so vulnerable when I'm alone with her? Don't tease me, Seal. Time skip. What's going on? I was currently standing in the middle of Jura with Milim and Veldora opposite to me. Seal was in the air, accompanied by Testarossa, who woke up after a while, Carrere, Ultima, Diablo, Shizu, the Kijins and Rigard. Even the Dryads were here. What's going on, Seal? Rimuru, I understand that you put me in charge of training your idiot brother, but I think there should be a change. He's too afraid of me to even try to attack me with full power. Also, Milim wants to have some fun. I believe that it is in their best interest to fight you. Maybe they could grow stronger than before. You could also point out their mistakes. After all, they actually listened to you. Milim was excited and Veldora was unsure but still excited. Now they could actually fight me and see just how strong I really am. The others here only know that I'm a true dragon. I haven't actually told them how strong I am, so they're curious as to how well I'd stand against these two. I deadpanned my wife. You just want them all to see my true power, don't you? It is just your imagination. I sighed and looked at my brother and niece. Come at me with everything you've got. You won't stand a chance otherwise. The 2 of them nodded and released a massive amount of mana. Seal created a barrier around us and around the spectators to protect them. Veldora, you don't have an ultimate skill. I'll give you one later. Also Seal, I have something I want you to do. I'll tell you after this is over. She nodded her head. Of course. I'll do whatever you want to my best ability. I smiled at her and turned over to Veldora and Milim. I released a huge wave of aura that would have killed a lot of things in this forest if it wasn't for the barrier. This barrier makes it so that no one except the true dragons can feel this. So, Velzard and Valgren would know, but I'm sure she did that intentionally. Milim immediately changed into her battle form. She had a sword on her hand, which I knew was the mythical class sword Tenma. I smiled and brought out my katana. The 2 of them rushed at me at great speed as I lifted up my katana. Give me everything you've got. Chapter 16. Catastrophic Battle. 3rd person POV. Come at me. With those words, Milim blitzed at her aunt in blinding speeds. She cocks her fist back and tries to punch Rimuru, but she tilted her head, dodging the strike. The force from the punch was so strong it destroyed the ground beneath them and unrooted several trees. Veldora came up behind Rimuru and threw a punch at her, which she blocked. Milim tries kicking her, but she intercepted her. The 2 of them start double-teaming her, and Veldora punches the ground, shattering it completely. Milim flies up in the air and slashes her sword, creating a huge slash that cuts through all the trees in the vicinity, and cuts the ground in 2. She rushed at her end with her blade in hand, and their weapons clashed. The impact destroyed everything around them. In the corner of her eye, Rimuru noticed Veldora charging up an attack. Kamehameha. He launches a huge energy blast right at her as Milim slashed at her. She ducked under Milim's slash and kicked her away. She then turned to the energy blast and swatted it away. This startled Veldora a bit, but he quickly regained himself and threw several balls of energy at her, yelling out the same thing. Hidouken. Hikoken. Hidouken. Rimuru maneuvered through all of them and blitzed beside Veldora. He charged at her, covering his fist in mana and tries to punch her, but she smoothly guided his hand in a different trajectory. Rimuru's fist glowed a bright purple, and she would have punched him, but she stopped as she heard something behind her. Drago Buster. Milim shot out several beams of condensed energy, but Rimuru skillfully dodged them all midair. She turns around and flicks her hand, changing the course of all the energy blasts. These said energy beams end up hiring and vaporizing a few mountains. If you even want to have chance of hurting me even remotely, you'll both have to go all out. The 2 of them got the message. They knew just how powerful Rimuru was. Milim activated her ultimate skill Wrathful King Sentinel and Mana Breeder Reactor, while Veldora turned into his dragon form and roared as loud as he could. The sky turned black as lightning erupted down on the earth. Sunlight couldn't even hit the ground. Thunder boomed loudly. He launched several strikes of lightning at her, all of which she either dodged or tanked. The lightning instantly vaporized anything it touched. A large portion of the forest was gone thanks to this. Rimuru creates a ball of energy and fires it at the sky. The energy ball burst through the lightning storm and cancelled T out, letting the sun hit the ground. Appearing high up in the sky, Rimuru crosses both her hands and just stood there. Suddenly, several meteor emerged from the sky and come pummeling down on the earth. Veldora fired a dragon breath, destroying a few of them right there. Milim, with her mythical great weapon, slashes the air. This creates a huge slash that chops all of the remaining meteors into two, and then they all exploded. Not bad. You're both decently strong. Rimuru flew over to them in speeds no one could keep up with and went for the attack. Meanwhile, the others who were watching this were in awe at this impressive display of power. Wow. Rimuru is so strong. Shizu couldn't stop watching this. She was too amazed by it. The Kijins too, were staring at this fight awestruck. Our master is so strong. Well, she is a true dragon after all. Takuro said, but Saoi interjected. That is true. However, this power is too much even for a true dragon. She's handling 2 catastrophe level monsters at once, and it doesn't even seem like she's trying. KUFUFUF as expected of Our Lady Rimuru. For once I agree with him. Tessarasa agreed. Meanwhile Carrera was looking at this fight in amazement. We never even stood a chance against her. She was just playing with us. I think I made the right choice to serve her. Ultima nodded her head and smiled. My mistress is the strongest in the world. So this is what a fight between 3 catastrophe level monsters look like. It really does feel like the end of the world. I can still feel the force behind each attack from here. Benimaru stated. Please. None of them are even trying yet. This is just the beginning. Seal told them all. Suddenly, a gust of wind and dirt blowed past them. Even within the barrier, they had to cover their eyes because of the force of the wind. They all looked and saw several explosive shockwaves going off. Huge portions of the forest were being destroyed. Another gust of wind and dirt was created, this time in a different direction. These shockwaves uprooted trees and shattered the earth for miles. The Jura forest was slowly turning into a barren wasteland. The sky had no clouds. All of the cloud got blown away in the midst of the fight. This is because of Milim's and Rimuru's fight. The two of them clashed sword with each other. The impact blowed away everything around them for miles. Not bad. You're strong, Milim. Of course. I'm a demon lord and the only dragonoid. Plus, I'm your niece. She sounded her sword at you again, but this time, you caught the blade with your hand. The ground behind you shattered for miles, because of the force, and even chopped a few mountains in half. But you are a million years too early to take me on. Rimuru pushed her back with enough force to send her flying over a kilometer away. The force was strong enough to crack her armor. Milim looked shocked and stunned by this. Are you serious? She was shocked because her aunt manages to crack her mythical great armor, just by pushing her back. Rimuru had a smile, happy that her niece is so strong. But then Veldora showed up behind her and launched a breath attack at her. Rimuru flew up in the air to avoid it as the attack destroyed kilometers worth of forest, or at least, what was left of it. Watching this, Trainee fell on her knees. At this rate, the forest of Jura will be no more. Rimuru suddenly appeared above Veldora and kicked him away, breaking the sound barrier. Suddenly, everything halted and Rimuru was beside Veldora, who was blown miles away. Rimuru slammed the palm of her hand on his shoulder with so much force that he went crashing down to the ground with so much force that it split the forest in two and shattering the earth. Veldora was in the ground in his human form. The only reason there weren't any earthquakes or natural disasters happening was because of the barrier that Seal placed. Milim got up slowly. This is awesome. You're so strong, Auntie Rimuru. FUFUF, I know. What will you do next? And no, you're not done. Milim smirked. She got up and flew in the air. She spread her wings out, and a pink aura engulfed her. She was absorbing and concentrating energy. A type of energy Rimuru was very familiar with. Stardust. Dragonova. She fires a pink and blue energy beam made of condensed stardust. Rimuru moved out of the way as the blast consumed everything in its path, melting and vaporizing over half the forest, which was now a barren wasteland, and destroying an entire mountain range. There was nothing left there. Rimuru looked at her niece, impressed and proud. Hahaha. How's it that's my Dragonova? Rimuru smiled at her niece, a tiny glint in her eyes. It's cute. At these words Milim stops, as her brain starts processing what she just said. Cute. I'll show you the difference between our power. Rimuru points her hand out and a small ball of eternal energy forms on it. Milim looks at her in confusion. Rimuru fires the essence of nothingness in a devastating attack. The attack erased everything it flew over as it went by Milim's face, and then hit the ground far away. It created a massive explosion that could be seen for dozens of miles. This not only destroyed the entire Jura forest, but it also shattered the barrier keeps them in. The moment the barrier broke was the moment all hell broke loose. Storms started raining down on the earth, earthquakes leveled the planet's surface, massive tsunami flooded the coast, and volcanoes erupted. Curl immediately takes action and makes the barrier strong enough to tank the essence of nothingness. Everyone covered their eyes. They all turned to see this, and what they saw shocked them to their very core. The entire forest of Jura was gone. Wiped off the map with Rimuru standing there in the center. How's that Stardust? The energy is the densest form of energy in the universe and essence of everythingness. The one I just used is called Nihility Collapse or Turn Null. The essence of nothingness. The most destructive energy in the world. One of the two types of energy that your father and I used to create this universe. Milim was dumbfounded. She had never seen something so strong in her life. Veldora was still alive in a crater, somehow. Hey. What the hell did you do? A voice yelled out. Rimuru looked around the place, confused as to whose voice that was. That was until she spotted an injured white spider who was trapped under some rubble. What the hell are you doing? You destroyed my home and all my food. Now get me out of here. Rimuru just stared at the creature in confusion. Who are you? I'm a spider. Can't you tell? Rimuru deadpanned at it. Your name? I don't have a name. Are you talking? No, I'm singing. Of course I'm talking. How? Rimuru questioned it. Well, I'm just really smart. The spider huffed, crossing its hands. Rimuru sighed and moved the rocks away, freeing the spider. She also healed all of its wounds. Thanks for that. I feel so much better. Rimuru then noticed something weird. Are you a reincarnation? The spider stops and looks at her. I guess I was a regular schoolgirl a long time ago, but then I died. When I woke up, I was a spider inside a cave. Rimuru placed her hand in her chin. She was reincarnated into another world, so she's an otherworlder and a reincarnated entity. Rimuru. She turned around and saw all of the people who watched the fight rushing over to them. Seal appeared next to Rimuru and smacked her inside her head. Ow. What was that for? You should have told me that you'd use Nihility Collapse. I would have made the barrier stronger if I knew. Rimuru put her hands in the air. Okay. I'm sorry. She looked around the place. Where's Veldora? I got him. Milim yelled out, as she carried a knocked-out Veldora on her back. She handed him over to Seal, who just flopped him over her shoulder. She then noticed a certain dryad on the floor. Trini. The forest had gone. Rimuru looked around, and saw the forest was now a barren wasteland, with a massive crater with a diameter of several hundred kilometers in the center of it. She only then noticed the destruction she did. Let me fix this. Rimuru snaps her fingers, and almost immediately, the entire Jura forest is back. All the natural disasters stop and everything is back to normal. Everyone besides Seal and the Primordials shocked at this. Surprise, reality can be whatever I want. KUFUFUFU or Mistress never lets us down. Diablo stated. Hey. Don't forget that I'm still here. They all tuned to the white spider, who was fuming. It's been trying to get their attention for a while now, but was ignored. They all tuned their heads sideways. A talking spider. Why does everyone react that way when they see me? Calm down, will you? She turns to the others, who were ready to kill this spider right there. Stop. She isn't an enemy. Rimuru then explained that she's an otherworlder who came here via reincarnation. Shizu walks over to the spider. So, you're an otherworlder like me. It looks at her with a surprised look. You're not of this world too. Shizu then proceeds to explain to it everything about otherworlders, Rimuru's identity, and about this world. They leave the spider to process all the information it just heard. Aren't you the White Death, the Nightmare of the Labyrinth? They all turns to Trini. Nightmare of the Labyrinth. A spider monster that lives deep inside the labyrinth nearby. It appears around this area within caves quite often, which is why people don't really come to this part of the forest. Apparently it's an A-rank monster, and it has killed quite a few humans that have stepped into its territory before. They all tune to the spider, looking for an answer. I killed those humans by accident. Rimuru deadpanned at the creature again. So, want to join my nation? You what? I'm building a nation of monsters called Tempest. My goal is to create a world where everyone can live in peace, regardless of who or what they are. The spider went into thought for a while before turning to them and smiling. Sure. I'd love to. Rimuru emailed at the creature. Good. Mind if I name you? Oh right. I forgot I didn't have a name. I'd gladly let you name me. It better be a good one. How about Shireori? Shireori Kumoko. That will be your name. As soon as she said that, the spider was engulfed in magical sand. Her powers increased by a lot, shocking you and the others behind you. She turned into a beautiful, well-endowed woman. Her aura was massive. Everyone was surprised at how big it was. She was a high disaster class monster, with power as great as an awakened demon lord's. In fact, she's actually the strongest person there besides Rimuru, Seal, Veldora, Milim and Testarossa, who is much stronger than Diablo at this point. Shireori, the gorgeous woman, opened her eyes. Yup. It's me.